Hey Cowboys Nation! It's that time of the week again, time to dive into the injury report, and with so many key players on it, we've got a lot to unpack. The Cowboys' 2024 season has been full of ups and downs, and injuries are playing a massive role in that. But before we get into the details of all the injured players, let me ask you, how are you feeling about the rest of the season? Are you still hopeful for a playoff run, or do you think we're looking ahead to next year? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. On a scale from 1 to 10, where's your hope level right now? And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to stay updated on everything Cowboys. We're aiming to reach 12,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can definitely make that happen. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The first injury report of the week is out, and there are some big names on it. We'll be going over these players and what their injuries mean for the team's performance going forward. First off, we're looking at players like Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb, all of them dealing with different injuries, but each of them incredibly important for the Cowboys' success this season. Micah Parsons' situation is definitely one of the more interesting storylines, but before we dive into that, let's take a quick look at the players who are dealing with injuries right now. Trayvon Diggs, Tyler Smith, and Micah Parsons are all limited, while Donan Bland, unfortunately, is still not practicing, which is a major concern. We'll also talk about Dak Prescott's serious hamstring injury in a bit, but first, let's break down the potential return of Micah Parsons and how much of an impact that could have on the defense. But enough about me talking, what do you think? Should we be worried about all these injuries, or do you think the Cowboys can overcome them? Let us know in the comments below. So, let's start with the big one, Micah Parsons. The man who has been the heart and soul of the Cowboys' defense over the past few seasons. After missing 4 games due to that high ankle sprain, the good news is that he's trending towards a return. And boy, does the defense need him. Let's be honest, without Parsons, the Cowboys' defense has looked nothing short of terrible this year. They've struggled with consistent pressure on the quarterback, and without that, the defense has been getting burned time and time again. But with Parsons coming back, could this be the boost the defense desperately needs? His ability to disrupt plays, rush the passer, and change the course of a game cannot be overstated. He's the kind of player who can take over a game, and the Cowboys need that level of impact right now more than ever. Now, here's a thought, do you think Parsons will be fully ready to go this week? On one hand, he's been working hard to recover and seems confident, but on the other hand, we all know how tricky ankle injuries can be. What's your prediction? Will he be back on the field this Sunday? Drop a Y for yes or an N for no in the comments below. We want to hear what you think. If he does return, expect the Cowboys to utilize him as much as possible. You can bet that the coaching staff will be eager to get him back in the mix, especially considering the struggles the defense has faced without him. But the real question is, will it be enough to turn things around? Speaking of turning things around, don't forget to subscribe to Cowboys News TV and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates as we continue to follow Micah's progress and what it means for the defense moving forward. Your support is crucial as we push toward 12,000 subscribers, let's make it happen together. Alright, we've talked about Micah, but there are other key players who are dealing with injuries too, so let's shift gears and discuss the situation with Donan Bland. Stay tuned. As much as Micah Parsons' potential return is a positive sign, we can't ignore the unfortunate news surrounding Donan Bland. He's been out of practice for quite some time now, and that's a serious concern for the Cowboys, especially considering how important he's been to the defense this season. Bland has been a standout player, but after initially being listed as day-to-day, it seems like he's hit a setback that no one was really expecting. The Cowboys thought he'd be back by now, especially with the team holding out hope that he could return for the Detroit Lions game. But nearly a month has passed since he last practiced, and it's looking more and more like his injury is going to be a lingering issue. If he doesn't get on the field soon, the Cowboys could be forced to look at alternatives in the secondary, which isn't ideal. Now, let me ask you, how concerned are you about Donan Bland's injury? Do you think the defense can hold up without him, or do you believe his absence will have a huge impact on their ability to stop opposing offenses? Sound off in the comments, and let's get a conversation going. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all injury news and game day analysis for the Cowboys as we push to reach 12,000 subscribers. Every single one of you helps us grow. With Bland's injury, the Cowboys might have to rely on other players like Trayvon Diggs and Kane Carson to step up. The question is, will they be able to fill the gap left by Bland's absence, or will the defense continue to struggle? It's a situation that has all of us on edge, and honestly, it's one of the most worrying parts of this season. Alright, let's take a break from the defense for a second and talk about some of the offensive injuries, particularly Dak Prescott. Stay tuned, we'll get into that next. Now, let's talk about a big one, the quarterback, Dak Prescott. The news surrounding Dak's injury is pretty concerning. As Jerry Jones mentioned, there's a strong possibility that Dak could be placed on injured reserve after suffering a significant hamstring injury. This isn't just any ordinary hamstring strain, it's a partial tear of his hamstring tendon, which means recovery could take longer than initially expected. Typically, this type of injury requires a recovery time of at least 4 weeks, sometimes even longer, depending on how things go. So, here's the big question, what does this mean for the Cowboys? With Dak potentially sidelined for weeks, the offense could face serious challenges. As we all know, Dak is the heart of the offense, and without him, the team is going to have to rely on backup quarterbacks like Cooper Rush to keep the ship afloat. While Rush has filled in admirably in the past, he's no Dak Prescott, and that raises concerns about the team's ability to score and keep pace with high-powered offenses. But enough about the injury, let's talk about the future. Should the Cowboys push Dak to recover faster, or should they be cautious and take the long-term approach? This is a tough decision, and I want to hear your thoughts. Should Dak go on IR, or should he be given a shot at a quicker return? Drop a comment below with your take. And hey, if you're still with us, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any updates about Dak's recovery or the team's performance. We're working toward 12,000 subscribers, and every subscription counts. Your support makes all the difference, and we truly appreciate each and every one of you. Now, let's shift gears and look at some of the other injury concerns, including CeeDee Lamb, who's also dealing with a nagging injury. We'll get into that next. Now, let's dive into the injury situation with Dak Prescott, which has been one of the most pressing concerns for the Cowboys. Jerry Jones recently hinted at the possibility of placing Dak on injured reserve, and this news comes after Dak's hamstring injury was revealed to be more severe than initially thought. This injury involves a partial tear of the hamstring tendon, which is not something that heals quickly. Given that, a recovery time of 4 weeks or more seems likely, meaning Dak could be out for a significant chunk of the season. For the Cowboys, this situation is tricky. With Dak on the sidelines, the team is forced to rely on backup quarterbacks, likely Cooper Rush, to steer the offense. We all remember how Rush stepped in during Dak's previous absence and managed to win games, but can he consistently perform at the level needed to compete in a tough NFC East division? It's clear that Dak is irreplaceable, and his absence will undoubtedly have a ripple effect on the offense. So, what should the Cowboys do moving forward? Should they take the cautious approach and place Dak on injured reserve, giving him the time he needs to fully recover, or should they push him to return earlier, risking further injury? This is a critical decision that could impact the team's future this season, and I want to know your thoughts. Do you think the Cowboys should be conservative with Dak's recovery, or should they take a chance and bring him back sooner? Let me know in the comments below. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the breakdown of the Cowboys' injury situation, don't forget to subscribe to Cowboys News TV and hit the notification bell so you stay updated on all the latest news, injuries, and game highlights. Help us reach our goal of 12,000 subscribers, we couldn't do it without your support. Now, let's turn our attention to some of the other injuries impacting the team, particularly CeeDee Lamb. We'll talk more about that next. As if the injuries to key players like Dak Prescott and Donan Bland weren't enough, the Cowboys are also dealing with a series of other important injuries that could significantly impact the team's performance moving forward. Players like CeeDee Lamb and Zach Martin are banged up, and the defense, particularly in the secondary, is struggling to stay healthy. Starting with CeeDee Lamb, his injury isn't something that will necessarily keep him off the field, but it's still concerning. He's dealing with an AC joint shoulder issue, which will definitely impact his ability to perform at 100%. As we've seen in the past, the Cowboys' offense relies heavily on Lamb, and any injury to him puts added pressure on the rest of the receiving corps. The coaching staff may have to get creative to ensure Lamb can still be a major factor in the offense despite his injury. But what do you think? Do you expect Lamb to play at a high level despite his injury, or do you think this could slow him down significantly? Let me know in the comments below. Another notable injury is to Zach Martin, who's dealing with a shoulder issue. Martin has been one of the most consistent and reliable players on the offensive line, but this season, even he has had a few hiccups, giving up pressures that he's not accustomed to. While the offensive line has already been shaky, this injury only adds to the uncertainty. If Martin isn't at full strength, the Cowboys may face even more challenges in the trenches, both in protecting the quarterback and establishing the run game. How concerned are you about the offensive line? Do you think the Cowboys can still perform well in these areas despite these injuries? Drop your thoughts in the comments. So many injuries, and so little time to recover. With a tough schedule ahead, the depth of the Cowboys roster is going to be tested like never before. As the Cowboys move forward through a season full of uncertainty and injuries, one thing is clear, the team's depth is going to be tested more than ever. With key players like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons dealing with injuries, the coaching staff is going to need to rely on the next man up mentality. And while it's unfortunate that so many key players are banged up, this could be an opportunity for younger players and backups to step up and prove their worth. For instance, we've seen guys like Cooper Rush step into big shoes before, and now he might get another shot to lead the offense. But beyond the quarterbacks, the Cowboys' defense will need to figure out a way to remain competitive, especially with Trayvon Diggs still recovering. The Cowboys have a long way to go, and the path to success will require every player on the roster to contribute. So, let's talk about the future. How do you see the Cowboys handling this adversity? Will they be able to recover and make a deep playoff push despite all the injuries, or will the constant setbacks derail their chances? Your opinion matters, so drop a comment below and share how you think the season will play out. Do you believe in the Cowboys' depth, or is this just too much for them to overcome? And, of course, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell. Your support helps us continue to grow and bring you all the latest Cowboys news. Let's reach our goal of 12,000 subscribers together. We'll be back with more updates soon, so stay tuned.